afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing? Always good? Excellent. So welcome to this session. Um, Originally, this is a vendor session that we got out of our sponsorship. And I'm like, you know what? If you wanted a product pitch, you'd go to our booth. So instead, I'm just going to talk about things in Office 365, and that's sharing and permissions and trying to understand what's going on in there, how do you manage it, and how do you make sure that you can scale and have everything under control. So thanks for coming once again. My name is Benjamin Nyland. You can reach out on Twitter at bnyland, but I don't think you guys care who I am, where I work. You just want the content. So I'm going to dive right into it. I'm not going to lie. I have 50 slides. We have 20 minutes. So it's not going to work. But when you're going to download the slides, we're going to be available on the site. You're going to have tons of content for you to go back to work and put that into action in your environment and be successful with security, Office 365, SharePoint, and all of these things. So let's get started because I don't have a lot of time. I found very interesting, a couple of years ago, I went to this bank in Iceland, and they had revamped the office, built a complete new and different office based on the activities that happen for work. And already I was starting to see a transformation in the way that we did work because it's a bank. It's not the California company with a barista in the office. It's a bank, and they had no assigned seating. Whenever you get to work, you go straight to any desk that you wish. No meeting rooms that you can book. They were just free with certain limitations and constraints. Completely different way of working that was approached by the culture, by the office. I like this from Avanade was a slide about the different generations that are coming to work now as well. We're not just in that traditional space. For some reason, we're taught to fear and hate millennials. I'm not sure why. I'm kind of one of them. I'm friendly. Don't fear this. We're used to technology. We're used to working differently. We get to the office, and sometimes we're like, interesting. Maybe we could do it differently. Maybe we can find some different aspects of it. And Office 365 definitely brought some of that. What I noticed, having worked in the IT space for too long, I didn't finish school, don't tell anybody. I went straight into the IT stuff. And all I saw was us regularly just updating our servers. And we never really, at least I can speak for myself, never thought, what is that problem and how do I find a new solution to fix that problem? Instead, I'm like, well, I've got Exchange or SharePoint 2007, therefore, I must go to the next one, which is 2010. And I've got 2010, and I must go to the next version, which I didn't really figure out whether or not it was worth it, what challenges it was going to fix in my organization. I just kept upgrading. But my end users, they did not follow me. Before, they were like, I have to use it. Now they're like, yeah, I don't have to use your solution. And that's where the whole concept of shadow IT was born. And they started using whatever they wanted. So our workplace has changed quite a bit. And now we have a number of tools that are available. Essentially, Microsoft put a lot of things in place that allows us to use many, many, many different tools. And the reason why we got all of these tools is to have a choice that stays within the environment. You want end users to be able to stay within the environment and have these choices. And on top of all of this, sharing got a lot easier. Anybody can press a button, click share, and then they're good to go and move on to the next step. Very, very easy for end users. It's actually how Microsoft, don't tell anybody from Microsoft? All right, good. But their metrics, their goals is how many people are using the platform, right? It's a SaaS, it's a software as a service. In IT, we're looking at, okay, everybody's using all these tools. I got to make sure that they stay safe, they stay compliant. We know of the habits because we did tons of things with file shares, with SharePoint environments, and we want to make sure that this ease of sharing is governed. How's everybody doing? Still good? Excellent. And for those of you watching this recording live, everybody's good. So what's interesting on top of that is that we saw the Project Cortex that Microsoft announced. We saw Microsoft Search. In the past, we had Delve, and all these things where the power of AI and the power of search is taking all of the content that you may not know that you had access to, start surfacing up towards you and say, hey, your manager's working on that document. I think it's relevant for you. It's called, we're firing you. Whoops. Okay, these are extreme scenarios. But what's important is that, okay, we've got all these tools and all that AI and all that search-driven mechanism that tries to build better experiences for us. We got to make sure that the things that are put there are safe, are secure, have the right permissions. So in short, IT is kind of like the architect in the matrix, right? You've got the user environment that you provided. You've got the rebel environment where users can pick whatever servers and products that they want. And your job is essentially balancing so that they are using whatever tools that they want in the environments, in the matrix that you provide. So that's what we're trying to do. But first, we got to understand the layers. We got to understand how it works. And there's really two things that you need to focus on. You have membership, and then you have permissions or sharing. First, who belongs in what place that grants them access to things? And then two, where do we give these people access to things? And those are two separate concepts that I want to dive into. So Microsoft introduced a concept that by now you probably all have heard of, but you're not sure what exactly it is, and that's Office 365 groups. I hear even today, we're like 5 years later, after Office 365 groups have been released, and people are still asking me, well, when do I use Office 365 groups, and when do I use Microsoft Teams? And when do I use a SharePoint team site? And that doesn't make sense as a question because for the last 5 years, I've been diving into this, and I put the pieces together and understood Office 365 groups are really just the new Active Directory security groups. They just made a new type of security group, so we're not talking about SharePoint, we're not talking about Teams, we're not talking about any of the products in Office. Go back in time to yesterday, probably for some of you, and then a couple of years, when we worked heavily in file shares, your P drive, your G drive. What did we do there? We had a folder, right-click Properties, go to the Security tab, and then you would have the list of groups of people, security groups, that would have access to your folder. Security groups have not been upgraded in decades. So Microsoft said, the Active Directory team said, we'll create a new one, which is exactly like security groups, but better, upgraded. And they're called Office 365 groups. In Active Directory, they removed the 365. It's called Office Group. So Office 365 groups is not Teams, it's not Team Sites, it's not SharePoint. It's the upgraded version of your security groups from back then that you're still using today. You put people inside of it, but now there's benefits to it. So it's the membership provider. And now we have a centralized membership for all products. Office 365 group means I go to Active Directory, I put people inside of an Office 365 group, and automatically their magic happens that creates a box of products for that group of people to work together. So as soon as you create a security group, an Active Directory group plus, you get a mailbox to share, you get a team site, you get a planner, you get a Power BI if you have Power BI Pro, you get a Microsoft Stream video channel, you get Microsoft group of forms, you get Teams, and you get a lot of products. And there's you're gonna think, oh, can you disable one of them and just, no. You get the whole package. And none of these products will have their own membership management. It will be an Active Directory in a thing called an Office 365 group. You gotta post for pictures at all times. So that's the membership provider, and that's where you gotta manage who's in what, who's gonna be in what group. And right now, you cannot put an Office 365 group inside of an Office 365 group, which is why we're still using security groups. But that's on the roadmap. It's been for a year. It should be coming very soon, or at least we hope. So that was slide 3. I'm kidding. We're going to get there. Your Office 365 groups are going to grow immensely very quickly. because now we're targeting end users to get their work done. And we want that because otherwise they go to Slack, they go to Evernote, they go to whatever else. So we want them to use all these tools. And in fact, we were looking at our data from some of our governance tools for groups, and we saw that already with just 500 tenants in just 4 months, we had 300,000 Office 365 groups that were created, and 52% of them had joined a Microsoft Teams to their Office 365 group. I had a customer once who came up to me and said, oh, we're not adopting modern SharePoint and Teams yet. We're just going to stay comfortable and relax and wait till we're ready. All right, open up your admin center for me, please. They had over 1,000 Office 365 groups created, Teams were being used, but they had no idea. So it's happening, and it scales very quickly. Now, SharePoint, remember in Office 365 group is the membership provider, is an Active Directory thing. You put people inside of it, and then a bunch of tools get attached to it. SharePoint has a history. It's an older product in this space, and it still, to this day, has its own list of people that you can add inside of SharePoint as well. So when you put people inside of an Office 365 group, they automatically get access to the entire package of products, but on top of that, SharePoint can have its own list of people that have access to things. So when you're going to be managing everything, you got to make sure that you're managing it at the right place. There's different roles now inside of a security group, right? Let's call it a security group. It's an Office 365 group. You have owners who manage settings of the group, who manage the permissions of the group, the members of the group, and who allows people to come in and leave, for example. You have the members that are working inside of it, and you have the guests, people outside of your company that can be members of your Office 365 group. Remember, as soon as you put people inside of it, they have complete access to the entire package. Except external users, they have limited access. So if you're thinking, I want some people in my company to only have access to certain portion of the files, you don't put them in the group. You put them in the SharePoint sharing portion. Because if you put them in the group, they become full control over Teams, Planner, SharePoint, Power BI, everything. So you've got to manage the group membership that own the package of tools, and then you have sharing inside of the tools. We'll get to that. We created a table. You're not going to be able to read from wherever you are. What's important is that it's in the slides. I always found it difficult to figure out who has access to what. So we created a little table, owner, member, guest, and what kind of access do they have across the Office 365 group. It'll be available. It's also available as a hyperlink. Then when you go inside of Microsoft Teams or the individual products, the owner, member, guest will also have various set of permissions and settings. Again, the value here is the tables available in the slides that you'll be able to download. And then the guest users will have limited access. They won't have full control to everything. However, this is tricky because it says they will have access to files. They'll have access to the entire SharePoint site essentially, right? This is from a Teams perspective, but the portion of SharePoint, they'll have full and complete access to it. So what happens is, remember, your Office 365 groups are likely going to exponentially grow. You're going to need to scale with people to make sure that they stay within your environment. But then you got to make sure you manage end membership and sharing that we're going to cover in a few seconds. When we're talking about external users, people from outside of the company, there's tons of ways to manage them. But always separate external sharing files to external people, and external members. So whatever you do, whenever you do it, since the dawn of time, separate membership, management, and sharing. And we used to say the ACL, the access control list, when we were in our file shares. There's who belongs to what group, and how do they have access to things. Separate those two things. The way you can manage external users, you can user managed. So you can say everyone in my company, in their job description, if it says manager, I want them to have the ability to invite external people. So you can manage who has the right to bring external users. You can whitelist or blacklist domains. I'm okay with people from Microsoft.com to join, but I'm not okay for people from Google.com to join. Whatever. And then you have also at the group level where which groups are allowed to have external users. And remember, when I'm talking about users, I'm talking about members of the groups, not necessarily people that have access to files. We'll get to that. In terms of settings, we also have an access expiration for external users, right? Something that's in Azure AD Premium, but that you can regularly validate if the external users that have been granted should still be there, or if you should remove them. You guys okay? Am I already over the 20 minutes? Probably 5 minutes. We got time. We got time. Remember, what are Office 365 groups? Security groups. Where are security groups? Active Directory. Very good. So where are all your settings to manage permissions and management of your team sites and your teams? They're actually, most of them, in Active Directory. You gotta open up your console. If I do it very quickly, you gotta open up your browser. You gotta go to, I'm scared to refresh. Where's the Wi-Fi? We should be okay. Refresh. It's going to refresh, we're lucky. You're in Active Directory connected to your Office 365. Everyone has one. And then under your Active Directory, you have your list of groups. And then you have in all groups, all of your security groups and all of your Office groups as well that are gonna show up. Internet is too slow, but I invite you to check it out and see all of your security groups and all of your Office 365 groups. It's also where you'll find your naming policies, your expiration policies, your access reviews, which allows you to say, I want every 3 months for the group owners that own the teams and the team site and the planner to validate whether the external people that are there should still be there. However, this is in Azure AD Premium, but it's available. Let's go back to our slide since we love this. However, all of this governance is not going to remove the problem of people accidentally removing themselves from the administrator role. I have nothing to help you solve that. It's going to be embarrassing. It happened to me as well. So that's a membership. You have Office 365 groups. You put people inside of it. You can govern that with the settings that we saw and the access reviews. The second step is sharing, accessing files and document libraries. So remember, you have the Office 365 groups. The only thing that really allows sharing is SharePoint. None of these products have file management. If you're in Teams and you're seeing files, they're not in Teams because Teams is a chat tool. They're actually in the team site that is associated to your Microsoft Teams, centrally managed by the Office 365 group. So whenever you want to manage sharing, you have to switch into the SharePoint portion and figure that out. But of course, you got to learn how SharePoint works. And that is understanding where you're allowed to change your permissions inside of the site that is there to serve as a content provider for the other tools that you're using. So you can change the permissions at the site level. You can change permissions at the list and library level, at the folder level, at the document level, or at the individual item level. You cannot change your security based on views of your document libraries, and you cannot change the security based on the columns or content types of your document libraries or your documents. So you have to make sure that you've secured the objects and have the right people in the group. However, as soon as you added someone as a group member or as a group owner, they have full control over everything I have just said. Right? So if I have a team of data people that want to share their results with the rest of the company, they will be in an Office 365 group, the 4 of them, and then we'll go into the SharePoint piece and we'll drop the Power BI report in there, we'll drop the PowerPoint, we'll drop that, and from there we'll share the SharePoint site to the rest of the company. How does it all work? You have these objects that inherit from one another. So if me and Antonio Mayo have access to the site collection, we automatically have access to everything below it. If ever you break inheritance of an object, the permissions from above are copied and they no longer inherit. So as you start changing below it to add Natasha or Liam, they are not accessing the top, but they will be there as limited access. If ever you see people have limited access to something, don't stress, don't worry, they have access to nothing. Just to pass through, as if you're trying to go through a corridor to reach the end of the house. So that's how it essentially works. You can delete the limited access, but you shouldn't worry about it. It's worse to delete it and people can no longer access their site than to just leave it there. You have permission levels, meaning inside of SharePoint, how should people have access to things? You have different ways of sharing. You have 2 ways of sharing. You can generate a hyperlink that grants access to things, or you can specify people and give them what we call direct access. Be careful because this is the default for many companies. That means that if someone clicks on share on a document and then types in the name of a specific person and clicks send, they actually generated a hyperlink that whenever anyone clicks it, it grants them access to the hyperlink. But until people click the hyperlink generated, they are not granted access. It will not show up in search results. But it's the permissions are embedded in the hyperlink itself. So what you want to encourage is people you specify, and that can be changed in the default settings. Another here chart, I try to separate what is authenticated users and what is anonymous users, people that have no credentials, and what are the different accesses that you will find when you're there. You have tons of sharing settings that you can manage. You can say whether external sharing is allowed, whether it's not. In the settings themselves, a little bit below it, you can change the default hyperlink when people click on share. Today, between the demo and your next happy hour, go change that setting. Because by default, it's set to people in your organization. You want people's behaviors to be nudged towards specific people that you specify. And they can say, no, I want a company hyperlink, so go change that right away. There's tons of settings for external sharing, so don't fear external sharing. Enable it, use it, leverage it. It's much better than people sending it through Dropbox or something else somewhere else. You can manage it individually by sites. And the last 2 slides to finish off, the governance now allows you to create sensitivity labels at the group level, at the Office 365 group level that says, look, the team that I'm creating, the group that I'm creating, I want to add a label called confidential. And if you add the confidential level, it will add settings such as prevent external users. Do not allow sharing in a certain way. If people are on unmanaged devices, change their behavior. So that's coming out soon. It was announced this week. Very, very important that you start using it today. Labels at the group level when you create your teams, when you create these things. They also added information barrier policies this week, which allows you to say people from this department cannot share these files with people from this department. So legal and this financial department, they can't share files. And that will be protected to prevent user behavior. And of course, you have a centralized audit log now in the Security and Compliance Center that's going to allow you to see what's been happening and audit it by just typing in the rules. Very easy to use, very friendly. Folks, I know I had a lot to say, very short amount of time. Everything is available. You can download the slides, but I also have a very useful guide to external sharing that you can go and download online. It will be available as a clickable link. But I also have this PDF, this book, Office 365 Groups Governance, written by MVPs, even some Microsoft employees, has no product pitch and is everything about guiding your governance for Office 365 Groups so that you can scale. I also have paper versions. I have the actual book. If you go straight to the booth called ShareGate, the wooden booth there at the entrance, we have a couple thousands of copies, so we'd love to get rid of them. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.